Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. We're back today making the viewer requested soap, and this is soap number 2 in that short series of videos. The first one was the blueberry and goat's milk and cow's milk soap, and today we're going to be soaping with banana puree. This was another highly requested additive to use in soaps that people wanted to see. So as you've requested, we're going to go ahead and use banana puree in the soap. This is going to be a bit of an experiment for me, as the last one was. So we're going to be making a very small batch, and if it turns out great, then you'll see them up on the website at sunshinesoapandcandle.com. We are also going to be using a few other ingredients here that I thought were really good for the skin and just kind of added my own twist to it, of course. So we're going to be using bananas. Bananas are a great exfoliator. They're moisturizing. They have potassium, vitamin E, and C, which help promote a healthy, glowing look to your skin. So I can see why you all asked for this. And then I wanted to make a vegan-friendly soap today. So we're going to be using organic soy milk, and the soy milk, this particular brand, is just water and whole organic soybeans. Soy milk is said to be good for the skin because it's got phytoestrogens in it, which help reduce the look of fine lines and wrinkles, and they also contain a lot of antioxidants, which is good for glowing skin. I'm going to be using a fragrance oil today called Sun-Kissed Cocoa, and it smells, it's got like a tonka bean and chocolatey smell to it, and also kind of like a citrusy pop to it. And to go along with that, for my colorant, I'm going to be using good old Hershey's cocoa powder for part of it. So that should go really nicely with the fragrance oil that I picked, and also it will be able to color the soap the color that I want it. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is mash up my banana. I'll bring you down to watch that process. And I will be linking this video, or I will be linking this recipe into the description box so you all can recreate it yourself. It will be a very small batch, of course. Just increase your ratios. If you want to make a bigger batch of this, increase the percentages, and you should be able to do the same thing. Okay, there's my beautiful mashed up banana, and I'm going to go ahead and weigh out 1 ounce of this for this recipe. Okay, hi, I'm back and almost ready to make soap. I've got my gloves and putting on my goggles now. I just wanted to say a quick note about using additives in your soap. If you've never done that before, you want to make sure that you research on every additive that you're using and usage rates for cold processed soap. If you use too much, your soap will not turn out right. And actually everything you do add to the soap does affect the lather. Sometimes it makes it lather more, sometimes it takes away from the lather depending on what you're using. Also, this is not a beginning soap technique that I'm doing, so if you don't know how to make cold processed soap, you should learn how to do that first, experiment with that before you're using any additives like fruit purees, so that you know what you're doing before you move into that technique. Okay, we are ready to make soap. I'm gonna go ahead and bring you down here so you can see what I'm doing. Here is my little container of oils and my lye and water solution. Now, in this batch of soap, we are using apricot kernel oil, castor oil, cocoa butter, because I thought the cocoa butter, it's not deodorized, so I thought the cocoa butter would be a really nice addition with the cocoa and yuzu, or the sun-kissed cocoa fragrance oil, and the cocoa powder that we're going to be using. and also a nice mix with the bananas. So we're using coconut oil, olive oil, and palm oil. So that's a total of 7 oils. So this should have a nice lather to it. Okay. Here goes my water and lye solution. I did go ahead and reduce this recipe 2 ounces so that we're accounting for the banana puree and the soy milk. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and add in the milk first, just by hand stirring it in. Okay, I'm just gonna take this to a really light emulsification in case my milk starts speeding up my milk starts to speed up my soap. Just gonna hand stir this in. Give it a little blend. Okay, there. So the soy milk will be in the full total batch of this soap, but I am not going to be putting the bananas in the whole batch. I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. I'm going to go weigh out half of this soap batter into here. That should be about 1 pound. Okay, there's my 1 pound. What I'm going to do with this is add the bananas, half of the fragrance oil, and the cocoa powder. This is going to be the base of my soap, and the reason that I'm doing that is because I know when I add the banana puree, eventually the soap is going to go brown, and it's going to not have an exact look that I want to have to it. So I'm going to be using the cocoa powder in this half to make it more brown, darker brown, and that way it'll hide any of the maybe weird brown that the banana might turn this. And I only want part of the soap to be browned, so that is why I'm using it just in the bottom half. So here's my 1 ounce of bananas. This is just for like aesthetic purposes. I thought it would be prettier to do it this way, but you could certainly add it into the whole batch if you wanted to or didn't care so much about how I'm making the design look. So there's that, and then I'm going to add in, this is 1 pound, I'm adding in about a teaspoon of cocoa powder. You have to be careful when you use cocoa powder. This is not my favorite thing to use in soap because it has a tendency to run if you use too much of it. In the shower, it can kind of get into your soap holders and stuff a little bit. So you have to just be careful not to use too much. So I'm using about a teaspoon, a little less than a teaspoon. And the cocoa powder itself should have a lot of antioxidants in it too, so I just thought it would be a nice thing to add to this one. And then I'm going to be using half of the fragrance oil in this part of the soap. And I'm gonna give it a little hand stir first. This is just gonna be a really nice soap. I cannot wait to see how it turns out. So already it's going a really nice brown. So when I stick blend that, it should be a very pretty color. Okay, bringing in my soap mold here. This is a little 2-pound wooden soap mold. I've lined it with parchment paper. And I'm just pouring the bottom half in here. It's such a pretty color. It kind of looks like chocolate milk. I assume that this will definitely get a little darker as it cures. We shall see. But if it doesn't, this is a very pretty color too. Okay, so this part I'm going to let it set up enough for me to put a little texture on it, and then I will be back to pour the other half on this in just a minute. Okay, I'm back to go ahead and put a little texture on this half, and it's setting up really good. I'm just using the back end of a little stainless steel teaspoon to put a little wave texture in there. I'm having 0 acceleration with this soap, which is really nice. That means next time, if I wanted to do this in a swirl type design, it should work really good. Okay, there, so it's nice and textured, and I'm going to put it off to the side to show you what I'm doing with the top half. Okay, that looks good. Now we'll have a little variation when the bars are cut too. It won't be a straight line. Okay. So here's the remainder of my soap, and this fragrance oil says it does discolor to a light tan, which would be a nice contrast to the color that we already have, but I'm going to try to lighten it up just a little bit with some titanium dioxide dispersed in water. And I'm using the rest of the fragrance oil. Here we go. the top half on. Bring it right back in. Pour that on. Oh, I'm going to spray this with rubbing alcohol first. This will help me get an even distribution of soap onto this layer. Okay, I am going to bring you right back. I'm going to put a little figure 8 design on the top of this and a little bit of coffee grounds because, you know, I just can't help myself. So I'll be right back when I'm ready to show you what that looks like. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put a little figure 8 design on the top of this, and I'm going to top a little bit of coffee grounds onto the top because it kind of looks like chocolate. I decided not to top it with cocoa powder this time, just because I don't like the way that it runs. I'll do that one more time. There we go. Okay. Now, when you're using coffee grounds, if you don't want them to run on your soap, you should use already brewed coffee grounds. I'm just going to put a little bit right down the center, mainly just for aesthetics. And I like the contrast of the white with the little coffee grounds on top. Okay. And then I'm just going to spray this with my 91% rubbing alcohol. And there you have it. There is the making of my very first, and hopefully not my last, chocolate banana soy milk soap. Please stay tuned for the cut and the lather test. Hi everybody, we're back to go ahead and cut the chocolate banana soy milk soap, and I just love the contrast already. I can't wait to see what it looks like on the inside. And I gotta tell you that sun-kissed cocoa was a really good choice. It just goes perfectly with this soap. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a cut. Here we go, in my Brambleberry multi-bar cutter. Ooh, that just turned out so pretty. Now the outsides are a little bit darker, but as this oxidizes, it will get dark like the outside. So pretty. And those little speckles are from the bananas.